All right, we are opening up our next chapter, Gither chapter 17, with a quiz question. Quiz question is this, students listening to this. What do teachers do the last week of summer break for fun when they have free time? Answer: they record chapters on YouTube because they love it so much. Can't you see the joy in my heart? I don't mind doing this. Chapter 17. We'll be back in school in what? Week and a half? Don't know. Not quite on my radar yet. We'll see. Chapter 17, The Giver. Today is declared an unscheduled holiday. Jonas and his parents and Lily all turned in surprise and looked at the wall speaker from which the announcement had come. It happened so rarely, and it was such a treat for the entire community when it did. Adults were exempted from a day's work, children from school, and training and volunteer hours. The substitute leaders, who would be given a different holiday, took all the necessary tasks: nurturing, food delivery, and care of the old, and the community was free. Jonas cheered and put his homework folder down. He was about to leave for school. School was less important to him now. Before much more time had passed, his formal schooling would end. But still, for 12s, though they had begun their adult training, there were endless lists of rules to be memorized and the newest technology to be mastered. He wished his parents, sister, and Gabe a happy day and rode down the bicycle path, looking for Asher. He had not taken the pills now for 4 weeks. The stirrings had returned, and he felt a little guilty and embarrassed about the pleasurable dreams that came to him as he slept. But he knew he couldn't go back to the world of no feelings that he had lived in for so long. And with his new heightened feelings permeated a greater realm than simply his sleep. Though he knew that his failure to take the pills accounted for some of it, he thought that the new feelings came from the memories. Now he could see all the colors. He could keep them too, so that the trees and grass and bushes stayed green in his vision. Gabriel's rosy cheeks stayed pink, even when he slept, and the apples were always red. Now, through the memories, he had seen oceans of mountain lakes and streams that gurgled through woods, and now he saw a familiar wide river beside the path differently. He also saw light and color and history it contained and carried its slow-moving water, and he knew that there was an elsewhere from which it came and an elsewhere to which it was going. On this unexpected casual holiday, he felt happy, and he always had on the holidays, but with a deeper happiness than ever before. Thinking as he always did about precision of language, Jonas realized that it was a new depth of feelings he was experiencing. Somehow they were not at all the same feelings that every evening in the dwelling every citizen analyzed with endless talk. I felt angry once because someone had broke the play area rules, Lily had said once, making a fist with her small hand to indicate her fury. Her family, Jonas among them, had talked about the possible reasons for rule breaking and the need for understanding and patience, until Lily's fist had relaxed and her anger was gone. But Lily had not felt anger, Jonas realized now. Shallow impatience and exasperation, that's what Lily had felt. He knew that certainty, that because he knew now what anger was. Now he had in the memories experienced injustice and cruelty, which he had reacted with rage that welled up so passionately inside him that the thought of discussing it calmly at the evening meal was unthinkable. I felt sad today, he heard his mother say, and they comforted her. But now Jonas had experienced real sadness. He had felt grief. He knew that there was no quick comfort for emotions like those. These were deeper, and they did not need to be old. They were felt. Today, he felt happiness. Asher! He spied his friend's bicycle leaning against the tree edge of the playing field. Nearby, other bikes were strewn about on the ground. On a holiday, the usual rules of order could be disregarded. He skidded to a stop and dropped his own bike beside the others. "Hey, Ash!" he shouted, looking around. There seemed to be no one playing in the area. "Where are you?" "Phew!" A child's voice came from behind him in a nearby bush, and then made a new sound. "Pow, pow, 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 pow!" A female 11 named Tanya staggered forward from where she had been hiding. Dramatically, she clutched her stomach and stumbled about in a zigzag pattern, groaning. "Oh, you got me!" she called, and fell to the ground, grinning. Blam! Jonas, standing on the side of the playing field, recognized Asher's voice. He saw his friend aiming an imaginary weapon in his hand, dart from behind one tree to another. Blam! "You're in my line of ambush, Jonas! Watch out!" Jonas stepped back. He moved behind Asher's bike and knelt down so he was out of sight. It was a game he had often played with other children, a game of good guys and bad guys, a harmless pastime that used up their contained energy and ended only when they all lay posed in freakish postures on the ground. He had never recognized it before as a game of war. "Attack!" The shout came from behind the storehouse where equipment play was kept. 3 children dashed forward their imaginary weapons in firing position. From the opposite side of the field there came an opposing shout. "Counterattack!" From their hiding places, a horde of children, Jonas recognized Fiona in the group, emerged, running in a crouched position, firing across the field. Several of them had stopped, grabbed their own shoulders and chests with exaggerated gestures, and pretended to be hit. They dropped on the ground and lay suppressing giggles. Feelings surged within Jonas. He found himself walking forward into the field. "You're hit, Jonas!" Asher yelled from behind the tree. "Pow! You're hit again!" Jonas stood there in the center of the field. Several of the children raised their heads and looked at him uneasily. The attacking army slowed, emerged from their crouching positions, and watched to see what he was doing. In his mind, Jonas saw again the face of the boy who had lain on a field and begged him for water. He had a sudden choking feeling, as if it was difficult to breathe. One of the children raised an imaginary rifle and made an attempt to destroy him with the firing noise. Pew! Pew! Soon, they were all silent, standing awkwardly, and the only sound was of Jonas' shuddering breaths. He struggled not to cry. Gradually, when nothing happened, nothing changed, the children looked at each other nervously and went away. He heard the sounds as they righted their bicycles and began to ride down the path that led from the field. Only Asher and Fiona remained. "What's wrong, Jonas? It was only a game," Fiona said. "You ruined it," Asher said in an irritated voice. "Don't play it anymore," Jonas pleaded. "I'm the one who's training for assistant recreation director," Asher pointed out angrily. "Games aren't your area of expertise. Area of expertness." "Expertise," Jonas corrected him automatically. "Whatever. You can't say where we play, even if you are going to be the new receiver." Asher looked warily at him. "I apologize for not paying you the respect you deserve," he mumbled. "Sure," Jonas said. He was trying to speak carefully and with kindness to say exactly what he wanted to say. "You had no way of knowing this. I didn't know it myself until recently, but it's a cruel game. In the past, there have..." "I said I apologize, Jonas." Jonas sighed. It was no use. Of course Asher couldn't understand. "Oh, I accept your apology, Asher," he said wearily. "Do you want to go for a ride along the river, Jonas?" Fiona asked, biting her lip with nervousness. Jonas looked at her. She was so lovely. For a fleeting instant, he thought he would like nothing better than to ride peacefully along the river path, laughing and talking with his gentle female friend. But he knew that such times had been taken from him now. He shook his head. After a moment or two, his friends turned away and went on their bikes. He watched as they rode away. Jonas trudged toward the bench side of the storehouse and sat down, overwhelmed with feelings of loss. His childhood, his friendships, his carefree sense of security, all of these things seemed to be slipping away. With his new heightened feelings, he was overwhelmed by sadness at the way others had laughed and shouted playing at war. But he knew they could not understand why without the memories. He felt such love for Asher and for Fiona, but they could not feel it back, not without the memories, and he could not give them those. Jonas knew with certainty that he could change nothing. Back in their dwelling that evening, Lily chattered merrily about the wonderful holiday she had, playing with her friends, having a midday meal outdoors, and, she confessed, sneaking a very short try on her father's bicycle. "I can't wait till I get my very own bicycle next month. Father's too big for me. I fell," she explained matter-of-factly. "Good thing Gabe wasn't in the child seat." "A very good thing," Mother agreed, frowning at the idea of it. Gabriel waved his arm from the mention of himself. He had begun to walk just the week before. The steps of a new child were always the occasion for celebration at the nurturing center, Father said, but also for the introduction of a discipline wand. Now Father brought the slender instrument home with him each night in case Gabriel misbehaved. He was a happy and easy-going toddler. Now he moved uneasily across the room, laughing. "Gay!" he chirped. "Gay!" It was the way he said his own name. Jonas brightened. It had been a depressing day for him after such a bright start. But he set his glum thoughts aside. He thought about starting to teach Lily to ride so she could speed off proudly after the ceremony of 9, which would be coming soon. It was hard to believe that it was almost December again, that almost a year had passed since he became 12. He smiled as he watched the new child plant one small foot carefully before the other, grinning with glee at his own steps as he tried them out. "I want to get to sleep early tonight," Father said. "Tomorrow is a busy day for me. The twins are being born tomorrow, and the test results show that they're identical." "One for here, one for elsewhere," Lily chanted. "One for here, one for else." "Do you actually take it elsewhere, Father?" Jonas asked. "Oh, no, I just have to make the selection. I weigh them, hand the larger over to the nurturer, who's standing by waiting. And then I get the smaller one, all cleaned up and comfy. And then I perform the small ceremony of release, and—" he glanced down, grinning at Gabriel. "And then I wave bye-bye," he said in a special sweet voice he used when he spoke to the new child. He waved his hand in the familiar gesture. Gabriel giggled and waved bye-bye back to him. "And somebody else comes out to get him? Somebody from elsewhere?" "That's right, Jonas Bonus." Jonas rolled his eyes in embarrassment that his father had used his silly pet name. Lily was lost deep in thought. What if they give little twin a name elsewhere, a name like maybe Jonathan? And here in the community at his naming, the twin that had to be captured named Jonathan, and then there would be 2 children with the same name, and they would look exactly the same. And someday, maybe when they were a 6 and a group of 6s would visit another community, and there would be a community where the other group of 6s would be a Jonathan who would do exactly the same other Jonathan, and then maybe they would get mixed up with the wrong Jonathan, and maybe his parents would notice, and then She paused for breath. Lily, Mother said, I have a wonderful idea. Maybe when you become a 12, they'll assign you the assignment